Jeff, can you tell us what life was like before NeoLife?
Yes, life was rough. Off and on for many years, I struggled with severe sadness and extreme fear. I was working at that time, and I tried to push through it and cope with the sadness, but it was tough. And I would go to work, and I would remember having to call my wife throughout the day to help me get through the day. Sorry. It came with a lot of panic attacks. Part of the fear was not knowing the reasons why. And anyways, I would get home after work and immediately have a panic attack because I'd have to do it all over again the next day. And so eventually I couldn't even work. I had to stay in the house and couldn't provide for my family like I knew I needed to, so I felt like a failure, and it was just really rough. So I got on some medication that helped with the panic attacks, but I started gaining weight pretty rapidly. At that time I was on 3 different medications, and I had some headaches every day and just really bad side effects. So it was not an easy life before NeoLife.
And last year you were sitting in this audience at convention in Las Vegas, and you whispered something to your wife. Can you tell us what that was?
Yeah, I was sitting on the front row, and I remember seeing the challenge champions up here and people being recognized, and I told her, I said, next year I'm going to be on that stage.
And here you are. So what is life like now with NeoLife and having lost 65 pounds?
It's so great. I just have a passion now for talking to people and helping people that struggled with what I struggled with, that feel like there isn't hope. And after 3 months of being on the breakfast pack, I actually came off all my medications. And I was able to start my own business, and I feel great, have much more energy, and it's been 3 years and I haven't been on any medications, so I'm doing great.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Jeff. And Linda, do you want to come on over this way? And you probably recognized her last name, Wilson. Last year, her husband, Kent, was a 1-year challenge champion. Well, Linda, you have been so vulnerable in sharing your struggles with your weight over the years. Could you tell us about how a shoulder injury got you excited to join the challenge to be your best?
Yeah, I have struggled with my weight my whole life. I was a childhood sexual abuse survivor, and as a result of that trauma, I just never could lose weight. I gained and gained and gained, never could lose. And then as I met Kent, I lost a lot of weight and looked fabulous for our wedding and immediately put it all on again. I went on to have 5 miscarriages, which each pregnancy I could not lose the weight. Then had 3 children, could not lose the weight. So you're getting the pattern here. Just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I would try and try and try, and I finally totally gave up. I thought I'll never ever lose this weight. About 3.5 years ago, I woke up one morning, I literally could not lift my hands above my waist without excruciating pain. I sought help for it because after a couple of days, I realized I can't even hardly dress myself. Kent was traveling, kids are now grown, our daughter was living at home that time, and I had to have her help me do everything. As I searched to figure out some natural things to do, I just put on more and more weight. After I finally found some relief for it, I decided I've got to do something. So I found a trainer.
And which health pack did you start with?
Oh, yes. That was the very important thing. I started with the breakfast pack.
Okay.
and the Pro Vitality in particular, which I absolutely had to have. Even during that time when I was doing nothing, I had to have it because it was the only thing that gave me the energy to keep going and to give me the nutrients I knew I needed to fight whatever was going on in my body, which at that point we didn't know.
And that first day that you met with your trainer, what happened?
So I met with John, and he said, okay, and he handed me a 5-pound weight, and I dropped it. And he kind of looked at me and went, oh. He went and picked up a 3-pound weight and put it in my hand, and I dropped it. I had no strength. He walked over and gave me a 1-pound weight. I held it for 30 seconds and dropped it. That's how weak I was. I had no muscle tone, no nothing. I could literally do nothing. He said, well, we have our work cut out for us.
And so you continued on with the breakfast pack, and you lost weight, a significant amount of weight, and then you switched to the sport pack. Can you tell us about your results?
Yeah, when I'd lost about 50 pounds, my goal was at that point to get down to 150. I was at 192 when I started.
And can you just tell us, what are you today?
Today, I'm 115.
And sorry to jump in, but
No, you're good.
what does your trainer call you?
Well, my fitness instructor, because I have a trainer and then I have a fitness instructor that I do 2 to 3 classes with. Every time she sees me, she goes, oh my gosh, here comes the incredible shrinking woman again.
And can you tell us what life is like now?
Yes, I did want to go back to I switched to the sport pack about 50 pounds down because I figured I was at my goal. But I just kind of blew through that and kept going. And I think part of it was because of the sport pack, because I needed that to recover. Because I realized in working out, whether it was a class or with my trainer, all of a sudden when I switched over, I'm like, oh my gosh, within half an hour of finishing training, I'm just back at it and going strong, whereas it wasn't quite the same. It took about an hour and a half with the breakfast pack. So that's why I switched and did that.
That's great. And what 3 words would you use to describe life now?
Right now, well, the 3 words before were tired, actually 4 words, tired, overweight or obese, overwhelmed, and invisible. I tried to stay very invisible, blend in the wall, nobody noticed me, sit down fast, don't do anything anybody would ever notice because I didn't want to be noticed. Now I would say I'm confident, I'm joyful, and I'm present and fully engaged. And I give God the credit for that because, yes, I have lost the weight, but God has healed me from the inside out, from the trauma that I had, from the abuse, from the trauma of losing pregnancies, and just taken the fear away, fear of failure, fear of success. I'm on the success team with Josh, and my success team is here, and I'm so excited. I got to meet some of them for the first time ever. But I am a different person because I now, not only do I like myself, I love me. I love me and who God has... I love who God has restored me to be because He didn't make me a new person. He made me the person He created me to be, and I'm finally that person.
That's awesome. Thank you. Okay, and could we have our business champions come on up? Richard and Emily. Let's come up here so everyone can see you. Not too close to the edge. So, could you tell us what life was like before NeoLife?
I would say basically, in one word, would be discontent. Obviously, I'm retired. I've had several careers. We had reasonable income. We were doing okay. There was never any surplus.
And how many jobs were you working to be okay?
Well, I was working 3 part-time jobs in different times, not all at once. It's not, I'm not a martyr that way, but, I worked, 3 months here and 3 months here and a couple months someplace else throughout the year just to kind of make ends meet and just to keep everything flowing. Mm-hmm. So.
And Emily, how would you describe life before NeoLife?
I was very tired, I was bored, and financially stressed. Mm-hmm. challenged.
And you had mentioned to me that you had dreams. You had pictured something different for your retirement years. What were some of your goals?
Yes, not having to work, having plenty of money, being able to travel, being able to go places with grandchildren and friends and visit different countries and not have to worry about money, ever.
Awesome. Well, it looks like you found the right place. And what did you think when you got your first bonus check?
Well, I was shocked. I had no idea I was even going to do this to start with. I was at the farmer's market up at Big Bear one day looking for some cheap stuff to buy, and I ran into my lovely sponsor, Linda Burr, and she told me about this program and kind of explained the business plan to me. And I've got some postgraduate degrees in business, so I know a little bit about it. And I've been in multi-level marketing for a number of years also.
So how much was your first check?
My first check, I think it was like $84 or something like that.
And what did you think when you got it?
I thought this had to be a mistake. I called Linda, I said, look, I only have like 3 people in my downline, and I'm getting $84, $85, and it seems like it's way too much. Compared to other companies I've been with, it's like, I was really amazed, and obviously it just went on and on and on from there.
Yes, and then we got like $300 and $500 and $800. I carry that check around to show people.
And your highest?
And $1,000, we used to brag about it. So it was lots of fun.
Well, you're changing a lot of lives in the process.
Yeah.
We love to help other people.
And it shows. And could you tell us what life is like now with NeoLife as a promoter?
Well, for me, I'm happier, much more confident, very easy with people. I used to be a little insecure with people. Now it's just, I tell everybody that asks me how I do it, I tell them that I don't let anybody get away from me without them knowing exactly what I do, okay? I sell NeoLife, okay? I'm gonna talk to you about that. If you don't wanna hear about it, then you can walk away, but everybody's gonna, I don't care if it's a waitress, I don't care if it's the lady that was putting my makeup on for the photo shoot up here.
You're not supposed to tell everyone.
Okay, well, but that's my philosophy. Everybody's got to know what I do, and they do.
Emily, do you have anything to add to that?
What was the question?
What's life like now?
Well, I'm very energetic, and we're very busy, and we see the future as wealthier. And our hope is that we can help our downline or anyone else who wants to go on this journey with us, that we could actually change their life. I don't have any children, so I don't really have a legacy. I don't have anything to give anybody. So this would be my one chance to have had something worthwhile in my life. Anyway, God says we're supposed to help each other. That's the purpose of living. It's just hard to fulfill that life, that purpose sometimes.
Would you say it's gotten easier?
Yes. Oh, the corporation is fantastic, and we love the products. I have so many favorites. It would be hard to name a few.
That's awesome. Well, thank you both so much for sharing and the impact you're having on people's lives. Thank you. Barbara? Come on over here. I don't know why you're acting like you're nervous. I've spent some time with Barbara now, and she used to be an actress in New York, and when she does videos, it's all in one take. Everything's amazing. So, enjoy. So, Barbara, what was life like before NeoLife?
What was life like before NeoLife? Pretty sick. I was pretty sick, pretty unhappy. I was, had not a whole lot of hope going on in my life. I had doctors telling me I wasn't going to make it. And that's a pretty dark place to be. Yeah.
And how did it affect your work?
Oh, no work.
And can you tell us your profession real quick?
I'm a
Sorry.
nurse. I'm a nurse, and I couldn't work as a nurse because I was too sick to be working as anything, actually, not just a nurse. But I was so sick, I had to go on disability.
And did it affect you financially as well?
Well, I was a director of nursing, and then I was on disability. There was
That
quite
answers
a
itself.
difference.
And you had results with NeoLife right away. Could you tell us about when you first started experiencing the benefits and a little bit about
Well,
this?
almost immediately, within 7 days, I was off diabetic meds. All of them. I was off all of them, all my diabetic meds. I was on 18 medications when I started NeoLife. Within 6 weeks, I had lost 35 pounds. And
that was with the
breakfast pack
breakfast
and
pack,
CalMag.
starting to incorporate exercise and a better diet.
Yes, and then nutrition started changing, and within 6 weeks, I was off all 18 meds.
How much weight had you lost?
Today, I've lost 90 pounds.
That's awesome. And could you tell us what life is like now?
Well, it's quite different. I'm not on disability. I'm back working as a nurse.
You're a promoter as well, right?
I'm a promoter in NeoLife, and that's where my hope lies. I have to tell you that I feel sometimes that I help people more with NeoLife than I do as a nurse. My profession is to help people, but when I help transform lives with NeoLife, it's so dramatic. It was dramatic with my own life, and I've seen other people dramatically change their lives with NeoLife, and I'm so glad and grateful that I am a part of that transformation.
Thank you so much for sharing. Congratulations. And I did forget to mention that we know that Emily and Richard have had a huge impact, and they've touched a lot of lives, and they had someone here very special to them. Barbara was their very first sign-up. And Latasha, will you come on up? So looking back at your before photo, could you tell us what life was like before NeoLife?
Well, before I was sickly, I was tired and achy, and I was just depressed. And a lot of times people talk about, oh, our clothes. I split quite a few dresses in the seam.
How many?
Quite a few. I'll say at least 3. I was running the office, and I had a few meetings, and I had to rush into the office and split a few dresses and had to run to Target to replace my dresses. But even in addition to my dresses, something that I just thought about was I not long ago got married, and I got my ring, and I remember being so excited about having my wedding ring, and I had gained so much weight I couldn't wear my wedding ring, and I had to get it resized 2 sizes up. And then I had committed myself when last year I turned 40 that I was going to get back in shape, because I was always athletic, and it was just terrible to feel like so tired and achy and just out of it. So I committed to doing 40 fitness events last year for my 40th birthday. And so when I met Micah and Heather and Luke Clark and they introduced me to NeoLife, I was really achy. I was isolated because I didn't have anyone that wanted to work out with me. And I can't emphasize enough, I was achy. And I needed something to get me going. And they introduced me to the breakfast pack, and I started taking that. But running 40 events, I did 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, obstacle course races throughout the year last year. And I couldn't have done it without that Pro Vitality pack and the support. A few times Micah and Heather ran with me, and my knees were aching. And Micah said, well, have you tried salmon oil? And I said, well, I'm taking the Pro Vitality pack. He said, well, try the additional salmon oil. I started increasing my salmon oil intake, and I can run now. My knees aren't aching. I was running last year. My knees stopped aching, and I actually made it through. I didn't think I was going to get through this challenge of 40 events in a year at age 40, because I thought my life was over because I was so achy last year. So not only did I make it through the 40 challenges, I brought people along with me. For my 90-day challenge, I actually did 200 miles in 90 days, and I started off not being able to walk a mile without my knees hurting and having to take a break, and I was able to run all of the 200 miles, and I took 25 people along with me on that journey, and it was just remarkable. Not everyone finished the 200 miles, but I had people involved that never even or weren't even walking, just like I was, just like I started. And just to pull them along and be able to create that community was amazing. And I had people say, thank you, when's the next challenge? When's the next challenge? So I've done several challenges with people thereafter, biking challenges, et cetera. And so with that support and my NeoLife supplements, I was able to get through my 40 for 40 challenge. And I often say that these are great products. I didn't believe it myself until I started taking it. But these are great products, but what I love even more is the community that goes along with the products, because you can take products all day, and if you don't feel supported or encouraged to take them or to exercise, because it's not just the products, it's the exercise, the healthy lifestyle that NeoLife promotes. And without that, I wouldn't be where I am. And, I was pulled along with Marjorie. I can't see anything right now, but I was pulled along with Marjorie Clark to do her infamous 10K that year, and I was shocked that I was able to finish the whole 10K. I mean, here Marjorie is able to run a full 10K nonstop. She didn't know, but that was killing me to keep up with her. So throughout it all, it's a blessing that I was able to do all 40 events and make it through. And even though I had to upsize my ring 2 sizes, I was able to downsize it.
And Latasha, you had a different experience between your trip to Jamaica and a recent trip to the Dominican. Can you tell us a little bit about what that difference was?
So yeah, before I started the challenge, I went to Jamaica. I had a working trip with my husband, and I didn't leave the balcony. I said, we just need a balcony where I can overlook the water, because I didn't want to go out in the water, and I love to swim. I did not want to go out in the water. I didn't want to go to the beach. I was just too big, and I was out of breath. I couldn't swim because I couldn't breathe. Even though I love to swim, I couldn't breathe. I was just out of breath. I was just not healthy. So I just stayed on the balcony and worked on the balcony. And I saw pictures of that recently, and I deleted them from my husband's computer. But recently we went to the Dominican for my birthday, and not only was I able to go out on the beach, but I wore a colorful bathing suit, unlike the black that I had been wearing forever. And I went out in the water, and I had a great time, and I felt great to be able to wear a bathing suit again. And that was a big deal. So I don't know who it was who said it's not about the bikinis. You're right, but it's part of it.
I stand corrected. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Let's give our challenge champions a big round of applause.